folks, welcome in. Seven Rivers Racing on KQEG TV 23 and about 5 or 6 other channels. I'm Dan Dyke along with Al Ossie. Welcome in. You know, it doesn't even seem like it's been that long ago that we were on this same set saying we're ready for racing here in western Wisconsin, and we're down to our last, 4 or 5 point races at La Crosse already. Yes, and it's amazing who's been getting into the race cars here. You were in one Friday night. I had a blast doing that. Last Friday night, I actually got in the officials go-kart race. And I want to thank Adam Hayden out of Sparta for letting me jump into his go-kart. Yeah, it was actually big enough. And what a blast that was. So this year I've got to jump in and start Rob Mason's Sportsman, which was cool. Now I've been in a go-kart, and one of we have 2 guests on the program today. I need to con one of these guys into letting me jump into their car and at least do a hot lap or something this year. That would be actually a lot of fun. You really should see some video of yourself out there in that go-kart. I was in the flag stand, and I thoroughly enjoyed that race. I kept trying to black flag you, but they wouldn't give me the flag. Well, I was too scared coming out of turn 4. I never looked up in the flag stand at all, so when you could have dropped the pink one down, I wouldn't have known what was going on. Racing is heating up here in western Wisconsin all over the place. We've got some returning champs that are starting to claw their way back into the points races at Dells Raceway Park. Very interesting points shaking down at Crosse Speedway. Jay Herbst trying to hold on and nail down that points race, and a lot of money was given out last Friday and Saturday up at Fountain City, the Mississippi Thunder Speedway dirt track. Looking at the race recaps, we're going to start things off this week at the Dells Raceway Park. They had a very nice crowd on hand. They gave away a whole bunch of bicycles courtesy of the drivers. Corey Jankowski, last year's point winner, grabbed his 3rd win of the season, second in the last 3 late model 40-lap features. And Jankowski, who started the season teetering on not returning as the track champion, has really started to pick up the pace. He has, and he's a very good driver. We had him here on the show earlier this year from the Dells Raceway Park, and once he got focused, he's really taken off now. He and Matt Panur, they do a nice job running a program when some of us are stuck in traffic accidents, but they did a nice job, and we hope to have Corey on before the end of the season. Clifton Saucy won the Sportsman feature for the 2nd time this year. 2nd week in a row, Dave Trout claimed victory in the Pure Stock Division feature, and of course, we'll see the Trout taxis coming up here during Oktoberfest in a couple of months. The 18-lap Bandit Division feature, Haley Kapp won her first ever race at the Dells Raceway Park, and they have a lot of females driving out there this year. And that's nice to see that more and more people are getting involved, because when you look in the stands, there's an awful lot of women involved in enjoying watching car racing. They might as well get involved in the cars. Next up at Dells Raceway Park, it is the return of the Super Late Model Alive for 5 Super Late Model Series. Super Lates will be joined by the Sportsmen, Pure Stocks, and Bandits, qualifying 4:45, racing at 6:30. We'll see if the young man from Daytona Beach, Florida, can win his 3rd race. Frank Cryer still looking to win his next race in that Alive for 5 series. La Crosse Fairgrounds Speedway, again, the big news of the night was the Sportsman feature. For the 4th time this year, that race was called coming out of turn 4. We'll show you some video here in a minute, but we'll start things off with the late models. It was a battle of the Carlsons, a veteran versus the son, and this one came out to the double file restart. Mike Carlson, we've been waiting all year long. Bill Niles and I talked about this during the race, watching to see if he can capitalize on what he did last year. He brought a lot of power to the Speedway last year, and Mike has just not had the brakes or the motor this year to do what he did this past weekend. Won a heat race, and then came back and won the feature, and he did it in style over his father. And it was really a very, very close race. It was double file racing almost the entire race. I know at the halfway point there were still 16 late models in the same straightaway, and you're right, Michael just hasn't been getting good positions to start the race. He was able to start up front and took advantage of it. Now, Mr. Consistent Todd Korich rounds out the top 3. Jay Herbst, Brad Powell, Cole Howell, and Matt Henderson, Jess Tender, Mike Sauter, and Michael Sauter and Jeff Baker rounded out the top 10. And I've had a lot of folks ask me this week, okay, double file restart. If you go back about 3 weeks ago, we had the same scenario. Mike Carlson sitting up front on the inside, Steve Carlson's on the outside, and he beats Mike by the time they even get into turn 1. It was the reverse this time. Mike was on the throttle coming into turn 4 as soon as the green flag dropped, and to me, overcame his dad to win that race. And some people have asked me this week, well, do you think Dad let him win that race? Knowing Steve Carlson, I would have to say no.
I would definitely say no. I know as a father, I want my son to earn everything he's got, and I'm going to put everything on the line to make him earn it. I think what's happening with Mike is he's probably put in a different gear. He's found a few other things to make himself faster because his father's pushing him to do it.
Well, nice win for Mike. He started the night off with a heat race win. Nick Clements won a heat race. Todd Korsh won the 6-for-6 dash. And the points race we'll go over here in a couple of minutes are getting a little bit of some separation there with the late models now, but we still have a lot of racing to go. The sportsman class, another fantastic finish, and I love calling these when they come out of turn 4. They make it also interesting. It was Dan Gilster, Jared Logging almost the entire race running side by side. And the interesting part here, Jake Arneson wanted a piece of this win so bad, as did Danny Gilster. Arneson had a little bit of a problem in the corners. Gilster capitalized, and it went down to the very last lap between these two cars. 4th or 5th time this year that a race has been called at the line in this class.
And the video doesn't really show exactly how close they were running. We were down in turn 4 watching the end of this race. Those cars were within inches of each other, and the film really doesn't show exactly how close and how hard they were running.
Right here, Gilster starts to creep on the outside of Jared Logging. It looked like Logging was going to come out of turn 4 a little bit quicker, but both drivers stopped the pedal, and you can notice right at the line, right by a bumper, Danny Gilster picks up the win and solidifies that huge point lead that he's got now over Jimmy Crackhorn Gilster and Randy Humfeld and Greg Scheck. And looks like he could start walking away with the standings, but of course we still have some racing weeks left. Here we slow this down. Look how close this was at the line right there.
Wow.
I mean, that was, you talk about a photo finish, and this has happened numerous amounts of times this year, and my hats go off to every driver in that sportsman's class for just making it very entertaining. They are the show, and they have been putting on the show. Rest of the top 10 was Tony Lease, Jake Arneson, Matt Inglet, Troy Meyer, Greg Scheck, Randy Humfeld, Brandon Berg, and Jimmy Crackhorn Gilster rounding out the top 10. Brian Hesselberg and Jake Arneson both picked up heat race wins over the weekend, and then the 6-for-6 dash very candidly went to Matt Inglet. Did a nice job of stretching that one out. When we return, we're going to recap the Thunderstocks from the Crosse Speedway. We'll run over that tight point situation, and our guests in the program come out of the Thunderstock class. And on the program today, we're going to be talking a little bit with Raymond Hardy and Jordan Meyer. They've been putting on quite the show with the Thunderstocks at La Crosse this year. For Al Losey, I'm Dan Dykert. Stay tuned with more to come here on the Seven Rivers Racing Show, KQEG TV.